Hey everyone, it's Bethany. In this video, I am definitely procrastinating, which is not in my nature, but lately I feel like I have just been taking it a day at a time. But 'twas the night before my anniversary and I need a card. So I am going to create a fun little card. I've had this stamp set and I really want to create something fun with it. And it's the perfect little set for an anniversary. Also really good for weddings and things like that. They have really fun little icons that you can add to the little people. But I think my husband would love something like this. So I'm gonna go ahead and create something fun and personalize it to us. And let's go ahead and get started. First and foremost, I am going to grab 80-pound cardstock and I'm going to use my Misty. I do intend on coloring this. It's been my new favorite thing to do is sit and color. So I'm going to use Copic markers, which means I'm going to pull an ink that is Copic friendly. Okay, I need to slow down and do this right. I don't want to mess it up because I feel rushed. But I have a funny story too. I'll save it for when I'm coloring about my card collection. So I'll save it, but it's a funny story. Okay, I think that might be, I want some flowers for the basket as well. And he needs a little hat. I'm gonna do the top hat. Okay, cute. So let's go ahead and get these all stamped down. All right, again with the Memento ink because I'm going to do Copic coloring next. All right, so I'm gonna add a couple layers of this just to make sure it's nice contrast. Okay, make sure that's all good to go. Okay, press those all down. Ooh, that looks pretty good. Again, I'll do one more layer and make sure that that's nice and bold. Okay, there we go. And looks good. Okay, so let me clean these off and then I'm gonna set this to the side for just a bit so that it can dry really well. That way we don't have any smearing once we use the markers. And in the meantime, I'll clean these stamps off and I will get some colors pulled for this cute little set. It's so cute. So I did stamp out a little veil and the little cans for the end of the bike. Even though this isn't a wedding card, the whole point of our anniversary is to remember our wedding day. So I'm gonna do a little bride and groom because I think that's super cute. Okay, I am going to keep this extremely simple. Actually, I'm gonna grab one for my cheeks as well. I'm gonna keep this extremely simple because I like to use the same colors and just tie them into each of my pieces. So like the colors I'm gonna use for the bike, I'm gonna use for him, and the colors that I use for the flowers, I'll use for her dress. I feel like the less colors you use, the more consistency you have. That's just been my, I don't know, it's been my experience. So I am going to start with probably my darker ones because I'm still kind of waiting for it to dry, and with my darker colors, it's not going to matter. So I'll be sure to link everything in terms of color that I'm using below, and for that matter, everything that I'm using below. I have C3 and C5, and again, I'm going to use those on most, if not all, of my elements here. So I'm gonna go in with the C, let's see, how do I wanna do this? I'm gonna go in with the darker actually, because this is so small. I'm gonna do the C5, and then I'm actually just gonna do C5 all around the bottom. And then with the C3, I will kind of create a little mid-tone and then, there we go, blend that out. Okay, so there's my top hat. Then I'm going to use just that color for his shoes. Sorry, C5, the darker of the two. There's not a lot of room there to blend, so when they have such small areas, I just do all over color. Okay, same with her shoes. Then I'm going to do the same with the cans. So I'm going to add my shadow just on this left side, just because of how the cans are going to be on the bike. Okay, and then, so that was my C5. My C3, I will blend out. So I kind of put all over color with my lighter color, and then I'll go back in and kind of blend that transition and feather that out a little bit. Ooh, pretty. I like that. Okay. Then the only other area that I want to do gray in or on is the bike. So the bike itself, I'm going to only use one color for the tires, and I'm just going to add, I'm going to make this look exactly like my bike. I got a new bike a couple summers ago and I love it. It has the basket and everything. I'm going to completely color it how my bike is. It's a nice like mint color, and we love bike riding, so I'm just gonna make this look exactly like that. Okay, I got a little bit out of the lines there, but no problem, because I'm gonna come in with my gel pen in just a little bit and mend that. Once I started using the gel pen to fix my mistakes, I stopped over stressing about coloring. Not to say that I get intentionally sloppy, but I just don't gasp as much as I did when I got out of the lines before I started using the gel pen. Okay, so all over color with the C5 on the tires, and then also this little bracket here that connects the basket to the bike. And also on the pedal, the actual pedal. Okay, and then I'm gonna do this part of the bike next, but I'm going to just scoot over to a different color for just a moment, because I feel as if you color next to a color that you just colored, so for example, if I went in and colored right next to this dark gray, because it's still drying, it can pull into the other area that I'm coloring. So I just like to kind of go back and forth and take breaks with things so that I'm not pulling in color accidentally. So let's take a break from that. I'm gonna come back with the C3 in a bit, but for now I'm done with the C5, so I'll just put that away. And let's go ahead and do, why don't we do the pinks? So that's gonna be for the cheeks later. I'm gonna do R22 and R21. And, oh, sorry for the sniffling. I'm getting over these allergies. I feel like I'm probably going to say that in a lot of videos coming up, because it's just such a real struggle for me right now. Okay, so I'm going to go down the left side of her dress and then kind of highlight these little scallops. All right. Again, that was the R22, and then with this lighter one, and it's just barely lighter, I'm going to just do a little bit of all over color there, and then try to blend that little transition right there. Okay, that looks good actually. Don't think I'm going to do anything else there. I'm going to stop. Okay, so again, using the same color everywhere, I'm going to do the flowers the same color. Again, this is just a way that I think everything looks super consistent with the image. I feel like if I bring in too many colors, then it just starts looking, for me, chaotic, but that's just me. Okay, and then these are little flowers that I'm going to tuck in the basket. So I'm going to add the darker R22 just to the bottoms, kind of around, just like that. And then I'll do this lighter one, just a little bit. In fact, I might go back in with my darker R22 and just accentuate that shadow just ever so subtly. Not enough to even bring back anything to, you know, do a mid-tone, but just get that brought back a little bit. Okay. There we go. So there's that. I think I'm done with these colors as well. Okay, R21, R22, and let's now come back to the gray. So again, this was my lighter at the C3. I'm going to do all over color with this. Like this. Okay, and then I'm going to come back and just really add some shadow at the bottom. Just like that. Super, super subtle, but there. Okay, now let's do oh, I forgot to pull a skin color. I'm going to do the E000. Okay, so let's go ahead and work on the teal. This is BG10. I really like this. It's a cool shadow. I don't know how well it's going to show on camera. Oh yeah, you got that. I'm going to just use one color here. So I'm going to do all of my shadows. So everything that I would do with 2 markers, I'm going to do with 1 marker. For some reason with this color, I only use 1 marker. So I'm also going to do his shirt. And then we're going to put him in a cute little pair of khakis, which is going to be the same color that I pull for the hair, again, just to bring in some consistency. So again, all over color, then I'll come back in and add the shadow. And I'm not methodical about where my shadows go. I just have fun. I just do what I think looks good. I'm not really stressed if it's right or not. Okay, there's his shirt. And now I'm going to do my bike. Okay, so this is what my bike looks like. So it has this color all over, and I'm gonna do 2 coats of this color just to give it a pop of vibrancy, because this is a pretty light color. And when I need to bring that C5, so now this is why I would wait between colors and let those tires really dry, because if I were to come in with this really light teal right after coloring those tires, it can pull some of the gray into the teal section and then it can look really sloppy. So if I have colors that are really close together, I will take a break from those and go do something else to really let them dry. Okay, that is the first coat. I need to, before I forget, come back with this wrong color, C5, because I forgot to do the middle of this little tire. Okay. So let's do all over color once more, just to really make this nice and bold. And I'm going to color this entire bike, even though we're going to end up covering a lot of it up, I would assume. But we don't know how everything's going to be positioned, so I'm going to make sure it's all covered. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I'm going to work on, let's do the seat. I think, so my seat and my handles are like a little leathery thing. Little leather. So I'm going to do this, that did not help you at all, E21. And then I'm going to do that here as well. And I'm going to bring in my darker, which is E34. I feel like, ironically, of all my colors, this is the one that is starting to go dry. And I'm just gonna add a tiny bit of shadow to these handlebars, just like that. Nothing crazy. Okay, while that's out, let me do, okay, hold on. How do I do this where I can skip? I'm gonna do their skin real quick because I wanna give that enough time to dry. So I'm gonna start with him. This is E000. Okay, and his little hands. And again, I'm doing one color here, so I will come back and add my shadows in just a moment. Add her skin. Okay, and then I'll go back through and just deepen some shadowing. Just a little bit. And I'm not going to worry about hands and arms there because there's just not a lot. It's just teeny tiny. Okay, looks great. Now I'm going to let that really dry because I want to add my cheeks in a bit. While I'm thinking of it, I'm going to grab this C0. It's really, really light. And I'm just going to add a tiny little shadow along the bottom of this veil, just to give it something, but just to give it something. Okay, now let's go back in with these colors and that's there. I'm gonna start with E34 and I'm gonna give the face a little bit of time to dry. So actually I'll do just the light color for the pants, just a little. See, this is gonna start drying out, which is exciting. I get to buy my first replacement or a refill, but I'm just completely shocked that it's brown. Why is it not pink that's running out first? I mean, that's would definitely make more sense for me. Okay. There we go. These little khakis, super cute. Okay. And then we'll do, should I grab a different color? No, I'll just have to make it work. Okay, and then let's do the hair. I'm gonna do both of their hair color the same. So going in with this E34, and I'm gonna rotate as I go because I just color a little bit better if I can see the line. Okay, and then I'll do this E31. Let's see if we can get as much as we can out of here. It's probably gonna give us some really awesome highlighting because it's pretty thin. Okay, and then I'll just go focus on my mid-tone a bit more with that lighter color still. There we go. Actually, I really like that. Okay, and then it's gonna really look good as it dries too. I'll do the same thing over here. So he's gonna have just some darker shadows right here. Okay. And then I'll do my olive color and then come back and transition those two. Okay. I will actually go back with my darker brown and maybe add a little bit more shadow, but nothing that we're gonna blend out, just to get that nice and bold again. Okay. There we go. Okay, I really like that. Are we done coloring? Okay, we are, for the most part, we're just gonna add our little cheeks. So there we are. And then for my final color, I'm gonna do R20. And for her, since the way her head is kind of tilted, I'm just gonna give her the one cheek. And then for him, since he's looking more directly at us, I'll do two. Cute. Okay, now we can start cutting these out. So I do have the coordinating dies, and I'm just gonna tape these all on. I'll actually trim these down a little bit because I'm gonna use my mini die cut machine. That way they fit in there. And let me get the dies all put on there and then we'll run that through. And I will secure my dies with just a little bit of washi tape so they don't shift. Oh, I forgot the funny story. Okay, so I spent some time after I moved to actually organize. I put them here. I have 2 baskets. Hold on, let me zoom out a little bit. I have 2 baskets of cards, and you're gonna see this in my craft room tour, but I went ahead and took all of my cards and I put them in little tabbed areas on, you know, to just organize what they were. So that way, oh, it's so bright in my craft room right now, I'm sorry. That way, if we needed a card or if my husband needed a card, he could quickly come down here, grab what he needs, and it's easy to find, right? It's easier to find what you need. Again, I have 2 baskets, so the other one has like just because and birthdays and stuff like that. And so it was so funny because it was, I think the night before, was it my birthday? Something like that. I think it was my birthday. And he ran down here and he like remembered the gifts and everything, but just kind of spaced the card. And so he ran down here and it was so funny. The next day I opened up one of my own cards and I loved it, of course, because I made it and had really liked the card that I made, but he was like, I'm so sorry I'm using one of your own cards for your birthday, but hey, you know what? It was perfect, but it makes me laugh because here I am, you know, the night before trying to get my card done. So we'll see if I get one of my own cards tomorrow. I doubt it. He's so good at he's a good card picker outer. I don't know, does that even make sense? He picks out really good cards at the store. So thought it was a funny story to share. Okay, now we're all set. Okay, so I'm gonna use this little mini, and that's why I just trimmed these down. It's just easier to grab. And I'll just run each of these through and get them all cut out. And then later I will go through and take all of these metal dies off. Then each of these little spokes has a little opening. And finally, our little embellishments. Okay, so I'm gonna start somewhat assembling with both some liquid glue and washi tape. I'm gonna assemble my entire piece here. And I'm just gonna go bit by bit, and then my goal is to apply this all down as one piece on my card because I think it'll be easier for me to center it in that manner if I just have an entire finished die cut, and then I can center it on my card easier. Okay, so I kind of want those like that. And then I'm gonna have him just like that. Cute. Okay, so this is gonna be messy for a moment. I'm just gonna add glue. It'll get on my mat, but it's washable. I'm gonna have it kind of line up so that his hands are holding the handles. Okay, and then let's do the little hat. I'm gonna kind of have it on not the back, but kind of the back. more towards the back. Kind of like as he's biking, the hat's kind of tilted. Cute. Okay. Try not to give it too much of a chance to glue down. And then I'm just going to add, I don't want to cover up much of this basket, but let's add the flowers there. Get them not crooked. There. Oh, you know what I didn't do is I didn't go back through with my gel pen, and really the only super eyesore was that first one on the tire. So we'll just mend that there. Okay. Otherwise, nothing else is really bothering my eye. Okay, and then we'll have her kind of like that. Okay, so I'm gonna go glue on the side and then kind of on the side of her face there. We'll have her like, she's gonna be tucked in, snuggled in tight. Okay, cute. Love that. And then her little veil, the little flower crown, like so. Okay, so the reason why I wanted to kind of build it off the card is because now, let me grab another card panel, but when I go to center this, I can center the entire piece. Before, if I were going to center just the bike, see if I center the bike, then it's falling off of the card. But now I know where true center is going to be once I have my entire piece. So that's why I did it that way, but feel free to do it any way you want. Okay, before we put these cutie pies on, I'm going to grab my paper trimmer and 80-pound cardstock. This is just my panel for my card. I'm gonna trim this down to 4 by 5 1/4. And there is my panel. Another thing that I want to do before I add my little people is grab my Misty once more. Put this back in my glue. Okay. And I'm going to add my sentiment directly onto my panel. So I'm going to just set this here where I'd like it. That way I can see where I want my sentiment. And I'm gonna go with this Enjoy the Ride. And because I have this positioned, then I can kind of get an idea for where I want my sentiment to go. And I think that looks good, but I'll double check when I shut my Misty that it's lined up. I think so. So now I can remove them, and I'll just use that same ink. And I'll stamp it twice just so that we have consistent contrast with our other stamped images. There's one. And there is 2. Nice. Okay. Let me clean this off real quick. That way I don't lose this stamp. And now we're really ready to build this card up. It's like the final stretch. Okay, let's do card base. So I have 110-pound cardstock now. And this is sized at 11 by 4 1/4. I just went with a heavier cardstock for the actual card base. And then because this is 11, I'm gonna score that at 5 1/2 because that will be our center. Then I can fold and press that down. Now, while my ink is out, I'm going to put my little stamp on the back. That way I can get this ink put away. So I'm gonna add my little personalized stamp on the back side. Just like that. Thank you for all of the people who were telling me not to rock the rubber stamps. I cannot remember who told me that, but It is so true. I stopped doing that and I got better impressions. So thank you. All right, now let's go ahead and actually, while my gel pen is out, sorry, it's so bright in my room right now. Sunshine. Okay, which I'm happy for, but it's making it bright. Okay, I'm gonna add just a couple little highlights to their hair. Or not necessarily just their hair, but any of these little areas. Just gonna go through, add just some fun little highlights without smudging what I just did. And that's it. I'm not gonna go overboard, that's just enough. Then I'm adding foam tape to the back of my panel. Okay, and then I took all the liners off and I can center that on my card. Just like that. Okay, now I'm gonna take my little die cut and I'm gonna add just some foam squares to the back to give this some dimension. And I'm using a mixture of the small and the large squares just to get some dimension all over my die cut. There we go. And then, because this is all one piece, I can very easily center this right on my card. And I like that. Cute. As a final little embellishment, I'm just going to use these dewdrops. They're a nice final touch without being too distracting. So I'll do a little trio here and once more under my sentiment. And then with my little sequins wand, I'll just grab the sizes that I want and place those right over those little glue dots. And finally, there we go. All right, so it might be the day before, but it's done. And there we are. There is the final card. I am loving the coloring on that. And the addition of the highlights with the gel pen always just gives a really nice final touch. So I'll link everything that I used down below to put this card together. I hope this was fun and relaxing to watch. I always find coloring so relaxing to unwind to. So hopefully you had a wonderful time watching this video and I'll see you next time.